Hi, my name is Mike Sheinin. I'm an Applications Engineering Manager at Siemens EDA Saskatoon. My role at Siemens EDA, so I'm an Applications Engineering Manager, so an AE manager. My role as a manager is a little bit different, obviously more high level, but somebody coming in as an AE, as an Applications Engineer, basically we have to figure out how to sell the product. We have to work with the customer to train them, but also figure out how we're going to grow the business. That's kind of my look at it. As an AE kind of starting out, you have to understand the product in the first place, so we do a lot of training that might take many months actually before you speak to a customer. We got to make sure that you are comfortable with the product and you're happy talking to a customer and we're happy that you're talking to a customer, so nobody's like nervous or anything there. But then yeah, after kind of the training phase, you would be assigned to an account or put on a certain team depending on your skills and interests, and then you would go out and take calls and understand what the customer is doing, understand what their problems are, and kind of on the technical side, maybe the product is not working as perfectly as it should be, so you're maybe debugging a problem, or they want it to run from like a scripted command line flow, so you would maybe write a script or something. But then from the more business side of things, you would have to figure out, okay, they have 2 licenses, let's say, and we want them to buy more. So maybe I need to train 10 people. Well, I don't know 10 people. So maybe I have to figure out, how do I get connected to a different team, maybe in Europe or maybe in India or somewhere, right? So that whole business strategic side of things is definitely more high level and more difficult, but it's kind of the more interesting part of the job, I think, is you have to do all the technical work and understand everything on the technical side, but to really drive the business forward as an AE, you have to understand, okay, how am I going to grow the business and how do I get there? And here at Siemens EDA, we have a wide variety of, account people like account managers, account technical managers that have connections elsewhere. And so we can work with people outside of Saskatoon to help us make those connections. And Siemens is this like huge beast of a business, one of the biggest companies in the entire world actually. So we just have a small sliver of what Siemens is, and the electronic design automation section is coming from when we got acquired from the Mentor side. Siemens EDA as a whole is about providing differentiation and differentiated products. So really making big waves in the industry with our technology, and not just like, oh yeah, we can do that too and we're friendlier sort of thing, but like how do we make it 10x faster and like really disrupt the industry with our technology. So pushing that forward and coming up with really creative, smart ideas is what we're all about here in Saskatoon. There are lots of roles that people can get into in Siemens EDA. The general categories maybe would be what I do as an applications engineer, and then you can join the R&D side, but that has like a number of different categories you could be, right? You could be an algorithms guy or a GUI person or database or math. People come from all sorts of different backgrounds to work in our R&D side. So that's pretty cool, is to kind of find your niche, and we just really look for smart people, right? Like that's kind of what we're looking for. And you don't have to know this exact command and memorize this thing from school, but if you are really good at what you do, and what you do is something that provides value, then you have a good shot of getting in, right? So that's kind of the R&D side. And then we also have a customer experience team, which is kind of unique. I know a lot of companies have like customer experience positions and that sort of thing, so maybe the wording isn't that unique, but they control and help us stay on track. They make sure that we're going in the right directions, we're not forgetting things, and keeping up with people. So that just helps a huge, huge amount. We're not just hiring old engineers that know exactly how to do the job. We look for the best people that we can get, and a lot of that comes from the university here in Saskatoon. So we're hiring people that are fresh out of university. You don't necessarily need the experience. I mean, I would say most people have no idea what we exactly do and what our products do. But if you have a bit of background here and there, then we'll train the rest of it, right? So in terms of diversity, I guess maybe we're at an advantage because we can just pick the best that's coming out of the city and the rest of Canada, and we're also getting lots of good applications from the rest of the world these days, and people are wanting to come to Saskatoon to work with us, which is huge. So my career journey is maybe a little interesting, but a lot of people can probably say that. You know, it's usually not, I'm out of high school, I know exactly what I want to do, I go to university for that, and I get my dream job, right? It's not usually that. So I think out of high school, House was a fun show, right? The Doctor, and I got good grades, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go into medicine. So I took all the classes you need for medicine, and I didn't quite get in just because my average, and you know, I don't know. When you start university, you're just sort of trying to figure it out. So, you know, a few years pass and I have to figure out what to do if I'm not going to go into medicine. Pause, which people from the U of S know what pause is. They made me choose a major, so I chose chemistry because I got good grades in chemistry. And then I started to think to myself, like, what that means. Like, am I mixing beakers? You know, like I didn't know what that meant, so that kind of scared me. And I'd been in university for so long, I still needed electives, and a computer science class was one I hadn't taken before, and it was on video games. And I was like, well, I like video games, that like sounds sweet. And so I took that, and it like changed my life. It was just the thought process of it, and sure, it was video games, that's nice too, but everything just kind of made a lot of sense for me. So I asked my professor, what should I be doing? And so at the time, Carl was trying to create a new program called Interactive Systems Design, and that's computer science, psychology, and art kind of put together, and it was much less of the like hardcore computer science, like software development stuff, and much more of the human-computer interaction side. So understanding what the user is feeling, and you know how the interface should look, and how it should be intuitive and easy. So I went down that route. I took that. I was the first person to ever graduate with that one because it wasn't even real once I started taking it. And so I did that, and then I did my master's in computer science. And for my master's, my focus was on games still. So I made a game. I won like awards in a conference in Korea. I won a game award there for my game. And so that's what I was going to do. And I wanted to do games, so I interviewed at like Noodle Cake in Saskatoon, and I interviewed a couple other places that made sense. And I knew somebody from my computer science lab that worked at Siemens, which was Solido at the time. I got the job here, and I didn't know what they did. They did something with chips. It didn't make any sense to me, but I got a job, and you know, I got in at the right time. And as the team grew and grew, they needed a manager, and I was kind of the best at training people, to be honest, and communicating. And because my personal background was less in the hardcore computer science software development side, it actually made more sense for me to manage the team and make sure that people are trained and the business is going forward, and maybe less the hands-on technical stuff. So what skills help people be successful in our position? So yeah, like communication is just huge, and everyone will say that, and it's just simply true, right? Like if you can't communicate your ideas and your thoughts, it's just very difficult to work with you necessarily, right? So you can be off in a corner doing like really strong technical work and by yourself, and if the thing works, then great. But you still have to help people understand what you did, and what it's supposed to do, and what it should do, and what the inputs are and outputs are. So communicating verbally for an AE position is needed because we work directly with the customer. But communicating through email, communicating through messaging and whatnot, that's also just huge. Again, speaking to the AE side, having a bit of a business sense is useful as well, because we are trying to figure out how to grow the business. That's always useful. Not everyone comes in with a big business background, and that's okay. But just kind of being curious about that. It's not just about the technical side, but how do we drive in the right direction. Being able to kind of have that sense, and for an AE, it's kind of entrepreneurial. Like if you like the idea of being an entrepreneur and it's difficult to understand maybe how to begin that, or you don't have this great, amazing idea, the AE role eventually kind of turns into that a bit, because you get assigned an account basically, or you'll have a number of accounts, and it's like you have all the responsibility to do whatever you want. You have us, you have whatever things you need to be successful, and go figure it out. You know, go do whatever you want, and you have a lot of leeway to try things, and we can give feedback and all that sort of stuff. But so having that entrepreneurial sense is really cool. And then yeah, just obviously a bit of a technical side for the AE. Computer science is good, but for the role, it is nice to come in, because I didn't have this, but it is nice to come in with a bit of an engineering background. For R&D side or anything like that, just kind of understanding a program language in a strong manner. So we use Python a lot here on that side, some C++ and C things, and I'm sure everything else gets touched on, but a lot of Python. But as a lot of people would know in that space, you don't need to know one language to be able to learn another pretty quickly, and I think Python's one of those nicer ones potentially. So you don't have to know Python, but come in strong, knowing what you know, and be able to communicate that. And what's really good, I think, for students is to be curious and spend some time outside of classes. Because if we look at a resume and it says, oh yeah, and like I like built this thing on my own or with a group or whatever, that's just like really awesome. That shows that you kind of have a passion for this, and you can be a self-starter and work on kind of extended learning. That's always really nice to see. I love a whole lot of things about my work. The people, obviously. So we've built a really strong community, I guess, like really strong teams here. It's like kind of in the hiring, but it just is the way that it works out, right? Like when you try to find the best people that really want to learn and help and push the technology forward and like just be awesome, the community, the culture here just tends to be great. I love that we get to work with some of the biggest tech companies in the world, not even some of, like the biggest tech companies in the world. So I get to talk to really smart people that are working on the latest, greatest technology, things that aren't out yet, things that can't be spoken of yet. For me, in my position as well as an AE, because we work directly with the customers, we get to travel. So I've been to, all over the US, like a lot of California, of course, but like Texas and Colorado and all over there. I've been to the UK, I've been to Italy, I've been to Japan. There's really cool opportunities to travel. That's really awesome. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just, it's a unique job, not just for Saskatoon, but for Canada, for the world. Like it's super cool. So I love a lot of aspects about this job. Coming in every day, I'm not coming in like, oh, okay, I gotta wake up and I gotta take this call and oh, I'm dreading this and that. No, I'm coming into work. I'm excited to see everyone. I say hi to everyone down the hall, and it is a great place to work. So I'm very fortunate. The tech industry in Saskatchewan is like just going very, very well as we move forward. It has been for a long time now, actually, right? So there's a lot of big name companies, there's a lot of movement and a lot of, let's say acquisitions or big time funding coming in. And so the tech industry is just a really great place to try to get to. And it's not going to end anytime soon. And some companies have ups and downs, but we're always going to be here. Find what you like to do, I guess, and what you are good at, and reach out to people. Not even just resumes, but if you want to talk to people, like the tech industry is very open in helping others and giving people opportunities and spending time. right? So if somebody wants to email me and have a coffee, like great. We're a big community here in Saskatchewan. We have a lot of events that bring anybody in the tech community can come out if you're like an employee or if you're just aspiring to be a part of it. But you know, we definitely work together. We want each other to be successful. We're not like cutthroat, and obviously for us, we're in a quite different industry than some of the other tech companies in Saskatchewan. So there's none of that going on, and we all just want people to succeed. So if you're interested in it, then you know, reach out, take a look, and there's probably an exact job for what you're looking for at many different places. Saskatchewan is huge and Canada is huge, and so look everywhere you can and see what stands out. And if you're early on in your career, like if you're still a high school student or early in university sort of thing, there's lots of time to, you know, kind of shift and figure out where your niche might be, and you might not know where it is yet, but if you can look at potential endpoints, like potential jobs that you might want, then reach out or look at the job posting and say, okay, like what are they looking for, right? And then let's take classes that help me, or do online training or whatever that help me get closer to what that looks like. So yeah, lots of help out there. The tech community is booming right now, and we don't see an end to it. Tech is everywhere. There's more tech than ever, and it is not going to stop. So I think it's an exciting industry. It's a smart choice for people that want a job, let alone a great job. And yeah, it's something that people should be looking forward to. So advice for high school students or people kind of early on, it's a little difficult for me because I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So if you're at that point and you know you want to get into tech, like you're already a step forward, right? So you're probably already into certain things that will already help you in your future career. You're already kind of seeing and narrowing down maybe what you're really interested in, but branching out a little bit, trying different things, especially at that point in time, because you might think you really know what you want to do, but you might not yet actually. Experience some different ways of building technology. Like maybe you have your own repository, or you are building a game, or you know, like Photoshop a lot, sort of thing. You know, whatever it is, try to have maybe, like I said before, a couple of projects where you kind of try to really go from start to finish, because that'll force you to do things that maybe you didn't even realize, right? Oh, I have to make an image to put on the App Store, right? Like they need images in this format and this sizing. Oh, I didn't even think of that, right? How do I, you know, what program should I use for that? And maybe you really enjoy that, or it comes naturally to you. So I think just being curious about what you can do in tech is really good, and know that there is lots of time to find your niche, and just play around in your spare time, right? If you're really passionate about technology, or like me, like passionate about video games, use that, right? Find something that you think is really, really awesome and fun to do, and that's kind of what should guide your trajectory, I think, in your career. Because if you're doing something that you enjoy, like it's easy. You get paid money to have fun, right? So yeah, there's time, and do stuff in your spare time, not just the classes.